Hey Luna, how's it going?
Hey Noah, doing great. So, you ever wonder how spies or intelligence pros learn so quickly?
Like how they remember everything without forgetting a single detail? Yeah, that's gotta be some next level stuff.
They learn with precision and adaptability. And today, we're going to share some tricks to help you do the same with English.
Ooh, I'm all ears. So, no more lazy studying, right? We're talking real techniques that'll actually make a difference.
Yep, tricks that'll help you stay focused, even when life is throwing distractions at you. It's all about being more resilient.
I love that. Let's dive in then. This sounds like it could totally change how we learn. All right, Luna, let's start with one of the coolest techniques, sleep learning. Sounds like something straight out of a spy movie.
It's actually called Theta Wave learning. Basically, it works by using a specific brain state, the theta wave, which happens right between being awake and falling asleep.
So, it's like that moment when you're just about to fall asleep and your mind is still active?
It's that sweet spot where your brain is super receptive to learning. You can listen to special 4 Hz theta wave tracks while reviewing English material before bed.
Wait, 4 hertz? That's so specific. Does that really work?
It does. The 4 Hz frequency helps your brain enter that relaxed, focused state. It's like giving your brain a mini power-up. If you review something right before bed and listen to these tracks, your brain continues processing the info as you sleep.
That's wild. So you're learning even when you're not consciously trying to. What's the best way to get into it?
Well, here's a fun trick. Create a focus trigger for yourself. It's as simple as snapping your fingers or tapping a pen every time you study. Then, when you listen to the tracks at night, do the same snap or tap. Your brain starts connecting the sound to the focus mode, making it easier to remember.
I love that. It's like training your brain to switch into study mode even while you sleep. What else can we do to make it more effective?
One tip is to go over key vocabulary or phrases before sleep. The material doesn't have to be too complicated. Just review what you want to stick in your memory. Your brain loves repetition, especially in that theta wave state.
Now, Luna, this next technique is all about turning chaos into your best friend, neuropriming.
Yeah, this one's wild. It's all about training yourself to focus and learn even in the middle of distractions. Imagine studying in a noisy cafe or on a crowded street, but you're still 100% focused.
That sounds impossible. How can anyone concentrate with so much going on?
It's actually possible, and it's all about building that skill. The idea behind neuropriming is that you gradually expose yourself to more distractions while studying. Start in a quiet place, then slowly add in noise, like cafe sounds or street traffic, to get used to it.
So you're essentially training your brain to stay sharp no matter what's happening around you?
At first, it's going to be tough, but over time, you'll build up your ability to ignore distractions. And there's a cool trick to make it work even better. You set periodic alarms every 7 minutes while you study.
Wait, every 7 minutes? That sounds like a lot of interruptions.
I know, but the point is, it keeps your brain alert. When the alarm goes off, you quickly check in with yourself. Are you still focused? It's like a little reality check that helps you stay in the zone.
So this way, you're training your mind to stay on task even when you're distracted, and the alarms just keep you aware of your focus level?
It builds mental endurance. Over time, your brain gets better at filtering out distractions without even thinking about it. It's like you're creating a muscle for focus.
This reminds me of how some people can work with music playing, but others can't concentrate at all with even the slightest noise. So, if you practice this, does it mean you'll be able to focus anywhere?
The goal is to be able to study in any environment, whether you're on a busy street, in a cafe, or even at home with kids running around. You'll be able to dive into your studies no matter what's happening around you.
All right, Luna. This next one sounds super fun. The 5 sense memory trick. It's all about using your senses to boost your memory, right?
Yes, the idea is to associate sensory inputs, like smells, colors, and sounds, with what you're learning. It's like giving your brain extra clues to help you remember things.
Wait, so you can tie a smell or a sound to what you're studying and use that to recall information later?
Yes, exactly. Let me give you an example. Let's say you chew cinnamon gum while studying. Then, when you need to recall the material later, just smell cinnamon. Your brain will make the connection and trigger those memories.
That's so clever. You're literally locking information into your mind using more than just sight or sound. So the smell of cinnamon becomes a trigger for the lesson.
It works with all kinds of senses. You can pair different study materials with different colors, sounds, or even tastes. Like, maybe you use blue for grammar, green for vocabulary, and listen to instrumental music while studying for listening practice.
Whoa, I can see how that would make it easier to remember things. It's like building a sensory map in your brain.
Totally. The more senses you involve, the more pathways your brain has to retrieve that information. It makes learning feel more dynamic and multidimensional, rather than just relying on one or two senses.
And I guess the cool part is you can really personalize it. If you love a certain smell, sound, or color, you can use that to make studying more enjoyable and effective.
Yup. Plus, the brain loves patterns, so the more consistent you are with the sensory triggers, the stronger your memory connection becomes.
I'm definitely going to try this with some of my favorite smells. I bet it'll make studying a lot more interesting. All right, we're stepping into some ancient wisdom with this next technique, the memory palace.
Yep, this one's old school but powerful. It's all about using your environment, your home, for example, as a physical map to store and organize information.
So, you're saying you turn your house into a kind of mental filing system?
The idea is to associate specific locations in your house with things you need to remember. Let's say your mirror, every time you look at it, reminds you of your top 3 tasks for the day.
So every time you see the mirror, it triggers that list of tasks in your mind? That's a genius way to remember stuff.
Right? And it works for all kinds of information. For example, your fridge could represent your success formula. Every time you open it, you remember the key habits or steps that lead to success.
That's wild. I can already imagine walking around my house and thinking, okay, the kitchen is for my meal prep, and the sofa is for my relaxation routine. It's like turning everyday spaces into memory cues.
Your home becomes your personal memory map. The more vivid and unique the associations are, the better. You could even associate certain rooms with topics you're studying.
I'm loving this. It's almost like building a story in your mind. Each room tells a part of your learning journey.
And the best part is, it's personal to you. Your brain already knows these spaces, so the associations are easy to recall.
I'm definitely trying this. It makes learning feel more like an adventure through your own space. Okay, the next technique sounds like it's straight out of a science lab, active interleaving.
It does sound a bit technical, but it's actually a super simple and effective way to boost your learning. The key is to study in short, focused bursts and switch between topics while you study.
Wait, so instead of focusing on just one subject for hours, you jump between different ones?
Yep, you study in 10-minute bursts, switching between different topics every time the timer goes off. So maybe you start with grammar, then switch to vocabulary, then to listening practice. It's a way to keep your brain active and engaged.
That sounds pretty intense. How does jumping between subjects help with learning?
It's all about building neural cross-connections. When you mix up your learning, your brain has to work harder to make connections between different topics. This strengthens the neural pathways, making it easier to remember things later.
Oh, so by switching subjects, you're training your brain to handle multiple types of information at once.
And the cool thing is, it improves retention. When you study the same thing for hours, your brain can get a little too familiar with it. But when you vary the subjects, it forces your brain to stay alert and retain more.
That's actually pretty smart. It's like giving your brain a workout, right? You're keeping it on its toes so it doesn't get too comfortable.
And you don't have to do it all day. Just 10-minute bursts are enough to see a difference. It's the perfect balance between focus and variety.
I'm definitely going to try this. I love how it gives the brain a chance to reset and get energized between subjects.
Yep, and you'll notice how much better your retention is once you start using this technique. It's like giving your brain a mini boost each time you switch.
So, we've got one last technique to talk about before we wrap things up: the progressive weekly training plan.
This is all about structuring your learning over 4 weeks to make sure you master each technique we've talked about.
So, it's kind of like a training schedule for your brain?
Let's break it down. Week 1 is all about focusing on theta wave learning. You're going to review material before bed while listening to those 4 Hertz tracks. This helps your brain absorb info as you sleep.
Got it. So the first week is all about getting your brain in sync with that theta wave state. What's next?
Week 2 is about training focus in chaos. You'll start practicing in distractions, like background noise or even cafe sounds. Plus, set alarms every 7 minutes to keep your focus sharp.
Okay, so we're building resilience, getting better at focusing under pressure. Sounds tough, but super effective.
Then, in week 3, you'll start using sensory memory tricks. You'll tie different senses, like smells or colors, to the things you're studying.
Oh, so you're turning learning into a multi-sensory experience. I like it. And what about week 4?
Week 4 is when you combine everything you've learned. You'll start interleaving your study sessions with sensory memory techniques and focusing in chaotic environments. It's a complete mental workout.
Wow, that sounds like a full-on brain gym. I love how it all builds up week by week.
Yep. And remember, you don't have to do everything perfectly. The point is to be consistent and give your brain the tools it needs to absorb information faster and more efficiently.
So just follow this plan for a month, and by the end, you'll be a learning machine.
And as we wrap up today's episode, remember that learning English doesn't have to be boring. With these techniques, you'll stay sharp, focused, and have fun doing it.
That's it for today. Keep these tricks in mind and give them a try. Thanks for listening to another episode of Daily Native English.
See you next time, and keep practicing. Your brain's ready for anything.